So for this example, we are told that the population has been growing continuously at a relative growth rate of 1.14% since 2009. Now our focus this week is working with the formula, not translating that words into a formula. So the very first thing we are given then is that the scenario can be modeled with the following function. And that function is P of t equals 6.5 e to the 0.0114 t. So we're going to work with this formula, pretty much ignoring the words at this point. We're told P is the world population in billions, and T is the years since 2009. So to find the world population in 2009, the first thing I need to do is figure out how many years since 2009 that is. And that feels like a really weird question, but that would be 0 years later. So 0 years after 2009. So that means that I'm plugging in a 0. So what I want to do is I want to evaluate the P of 0, which means I put in 0 where the t is. So E 0.0114 times 0. Now, really important is not to put a parenthesis for this time, because if you add a parenthesis within the exponent, that's going to mess up your calculator. So I have this as multiply, not denoting that with a parenthesis because I want them multiplied together. Now, on our calculators, part of why we're doing this example this week is to find that E button. So I have a close-up here of your calculator keys. And again, depending what model the calculator you bought, they're a tiny bit different. But basically, we're finding E right here with the LN button. And the keystrokes for that are to use the second button, which is right up here, this blue one, and then to use the LN button. And that should show up on your screen as an E caret key parenthesis. And so the way that I'm going to type this is I'm going to actually clear everything out if you tried to start typing, but I'm going to type 6.5. Then I'm going to use the second and the LN, those keystrokes, to get the E. Has the caret key, has the parenthesis, and I'm going to type 0.0114 times 0 and then end the parenthesis. And that's why it's so important that I'm not putting a double parenthesis in there. And when I do all of that, my answer should come out as 6.5. And then from the context, that answer would be 6.5 billion. So I'd like you to pause the video, make sure that you're getting the right thing on your calculator. Because if you're not typing this right, if you're adding an extra parenthesis and not getting all that right, that's going to mess you up in other problems. So make sure you're getting that 6.5. So then it asks us to estimate what the world population was in 2020. And this is really like that idea before the pandemic hit, because now 2022, we've had the pandemic around and population growth has really changed based on the COVID. So what I want to do is I have to first figure out how many years later this is. So I'm going to start by subtracting 2009. And when I do that, I get 11. So this is 11 years after this starting number that we have in the formula. So I want to do the population 11 years. And so I put 6.5 E 0.0114 times 11. And then the way that I type that on my calculator, 6.5, I use the second and the LN button, and that makes E caret key parenthesis show up. And then I'm going to type 0.0114 times 11 and then close my parentheses so that I get all of that in the exponent as needed. And round it off to just one decimal place, then I would get 7.4 billion. So reason why this example is in our notes is so that you can find E on your calculator. We're going to need it throughout the course, so really important to locate that now. And also, second reason is the learning of entering the entire exponent before you close the parentheses. So here where I have the math within the exponent, I need to type that math and then end the parentheses so I don't mess up my calculator on doing this calculation.